Awesome. So we are here with Dr. Pandwe Gibson, and she is the founder of Ecotech Visions, based in Miami, Florida. And I'll let her take it from here.
Hi. Uh, I was asked to speak today about sustainability and social justice. And first, thank you for having me at this Hack for Justice event. I have been listening in so far, and it's been a very interesting conversation and group of individuals who are committed to forwarding purpose in the world, maturation in the world. And in that spirit, I think I want to share two stories of what I think can illuminate my perspective and purpose as it relates to sustainability. And I believe answers to how to effectively implement it, all sort of embedded. So the first story is about Hurricane Katrina, and the second story is about Australia. So uh, I am originally from Earth, by way of New Orleans and Chicago. I am seven generations Black American. My 11 of the men in my family fought in wars for this country on both sides, which is apropos given Veterans Day just passed. And when Hurricane Katrina hit, I was in college at Scripps College in California, all women's college, actually in the grad program by that time. And uh, Hurricane Katrina um, ran through my home, like 90% of the city, the home that I knew my mother, my brother, my grandmother um, uh, having fled to Memphis, were some of the few that were able to get out, the few meaning thousands, right? A whole city was mandated to evacuate in a 24-hour period. And those who were left not only lost their lives during that 2 weeks of terror, horror, and lack of civilization, but they also lost their citizenship. So just like you and many others watching it on TV, I saw Black Americans being called refugees in their own homes, and the devastation that that legacy created, being again seven generations Black American, being of the ilk of the scientists and warriors that built this great nation. It really shaped my perspective on how you think about environmental disasters complicated by economic disparity. And for me, that's the frame and context from which I think about social justice and sustainability. Similar to the foreword and opening in Van Jones' seminal text, Green Collar Economy, as he articulates the ravishing of a great American city created by not Hurricane Katrina, but also man's inhumanity to men. So I went along a personal journey to sort of live in purpose and support both human life and natural life. And that was the first step of my maturation into sustainability until I began to move forward. And a year ago, a little over a year ago now, maybe two, I had the privilege of participating in a program with Richard Branson and Virgin Airlines, the Ames Fellowship Foundation, where myself and 300 leaders were invited to Australia to train and support the maturation of the Aboriginal community through mentoring and training for Aboriginal youth, high school students and college students, Australia being sort of how the US was in the 1950s and in the 1950s as it relates to race relations, when Aboriginals being treated similarly to how Native Americans have been treated in this country. The trip invited Black Americans from all over the country, Indigenous Americans, Native Americans, Black African descent Canadians, Ugandans from the continent of Africa, and South Africans, Indigenous Black South Africans, to participate in a conversation to support the Indigenous Australian community. And what came out of that experience, the maturing of all participants, I believe, or at least a heavy percentage, after we got through the oppression Olympics conversation, after we got through our personal localized identity as it relates to race relations and cultural realities, we got to a point where the conversation was about indigeneity. And I believe what most realize is that we are all, as a human race, indigenous to the planet. And what that means and the opportunity that that creates is that then we are all responsible as stewards of the planet to create a vibrancy and a health and flow in terms of how we interact with her. And so from there, I got a ton of possibility, right? Because if you look at all the world's billionaires, from Richard Branson to Elon Musk to our current but soon to be former president, they've given up and they're ready to go to Mars because it seems perilous as it relates to us reaching what I think my mission in life is. My grandparents' mission, just to rewind, my grandmother worked on the Manhattan Project with her aunt, with my great aunt, her sister, during World War II. And so their mission was like creating scientific innovation that is historical with thousands of scientists. And I believe the biggest mission of our life, my life personally, of my company and of my work, is to reach a 1.5 degree reduction in CO2 by 2035, right? So we have a decade and a half to get there. According to the IPCC, that's a valiant but attainable goal if we start on it now, which would have places like New Orleans, Miami, places that I've called home, still being here for decades to come, potentially centuries to come. And my work is around the possibility to create that, and I believe me focusing on disrupting the plastic and packaging industry is the best way to make the biggest impact and progress towards that goal. And I welcome anybody who wants to join in that journey. You can find out more about it on my website, pandwegibson.com, or ecotechvisions.com, which is the company website. And I appreciate this time to speak to you today.
Awesome. So thank you, Pandwe, for joining us, and we will connect more later.